Hey you guys, my name is Roman and welcome to my YouTube channel. Before we get started, let's do three things. One, let's hit that like button. Two, let's subscribe to the channel. And three, drop a comment below after the video and let me know what you thought. What is going on with people killing their moms, their dads, their baby mamas, their best friends? This shit is just out of control. So in this next story, Brian Trotter, 25-year-old Brian Trotter, he was an aspiring rapper. His stage name was Ken Won't Stop. Was found dead in the trunk of a car, not any car, the trunk of his best friend of 10 years. He was found in the trunk of his car in a Florida highway. So Brian was reported missing by his father a few days after his son was picked up by his best friend, Robert Coltrain, on October 17th. They were supposed to be going to DC to take some promotional pictures for some like upcoming music or something that they were going to be doing. That's at least what his father thought. And so his dad had noticed that when Robert had came to pick him up, he was a little bit cold, a little bit distant. Normally when he comes over to pick up his son, he comes in, he's high, he's very friendly, but on this occasion, he was pretty much standoffish. And that should have been a telling sign, you know what I mean? Like, parents know. But I'm sure after dealing with him for 10 years, he's probably had days where he's came over to the house cold and distant. And so they probably didn't pay it any mind. But, 2020, hindsight is like, damn, you wish you could have what you couldn't. But anyway, so he noticed he was cold and distant. So he picked his son up, they left. And then so a few days went by. And so he had realized, I think he was expecting his son to come home that night. But a few days had went by, at least where communication was silent. His son hadn't responded to text messages. There wasn't any phone calls or anything like that, just saying where I'm at or what's going on. So his father had reported him missing to the police. And none of his friends actually knew either. His father had reached out to his friends, and none of his friends had knew, where he was or what was going on, and they hadn't spoke to him too. So his father reached out to the police to file a missing police report a few days after October 17th. So I'm thinking, and it's so crazy. My birthday was October 19th. So to just know that this was all going on, it's just eerie, a very eerie fucking feeling. So now fast forward to October 25th, Sunday, October 25th, around 4 p.m., sometime in the afternoon, Robert Coltrain had gotten to a car crash. It was raining on the Florida Interstate Highway, and he got into a car crash, and the highway patrol actually towed the car to the nearest parking lot just to get it off the road, to kind of clear the roads up. And so the police came, the police followed us as well. So when he went, he wanted to go to his car to retrieve something. And this something was his Glock, his gun. And as he did so, the police, of course, they're there too. They noticed flies and this foul odor coming from the trunk. And they went to open the trunk, and that's when they found the body of Brian Trotter wrapped in a fabric cloth. And his body was decomposing. So he had been in the car riding around for a couple of days, clearly if they had driven from Virginia all the way to Florida. And so that's where they found the body decomposing in the back of the trunk. And his name was entered into this. He was arrested, name entered into the system, and that's when they found out that there was a missing persons report for Brian Trotter. He was arrested and brought back to Virginia. No motive was ever, no motive has been found yet. The police are still investigating. This, is still pretty brand new. And I can't even think of a motive myself. I'm trying to think. Like, I went through all the news articles and all the stories. I tried to, search their pages, and they were really friends. What have transpired? I know in one of the reports that I read, they said that he had been shot at least one time. The autopsy report noted that he had been shot at least one time inside the car, and then multiple other times outside of the car. So maybe it was a conversation gone bad. maybe it was drugs. Maybe it was, something we don't know about. And so I'll be following this story because I'm very, very interested into knowing what kind of motive would have motivated him to kill his friend of 10 years. Your emotions would have to have been very, very high to have done something heinous that. But let me take that back, because now, we know people kill their mothers and their fathers for anything. So what's sad is that the father shared some of the last words and moments that he had with his son. Check this out.
Always do.
It's like a ritual with us. He walked up to me. I hugged him. I said, "I love you," and he said, "I love you," and that was the last I saw.
Brian left with longtime friend Rob Coltrain, seen with him in this music video. They played high school sports together and more recently performed together. Brian's dad says his son's friend was acting strangely when he picked his son up that day. Normally he'd pop into the house to say hello. Instead, he stayed down on the stairs and acted tense, standoffish. Brian never returned home. His cell phone went dead. His family filed a missing persons report and launched a social media campaign to try to find him. Early Monday morning, police knocked on the apartment door.
We have an individual in Dade County, Florida, that matches the description of your son.
Rob Coltrain had crashed his car on Sunday afternoon on a Dade County, Florida road. When police began to investigate, they found Brian Trotter in the trunk. He'd been shot multiple times. Coltrain is now charged with second-degree murder. Brian's dad is unsure why the accused killer would turn on his friend, but he thinks jealousy might be involved. Now Brian's family and friends reflecting on the promising life that's been lost.
Brian was doing well, not only in just rap. He was doing well in his job. He was, he was coming up.
Brian's dad taking small comfort in that final hug with his son.
I've heard so many people say, always hug your loved ones. Say you love them, give them a hug, even if they're just going to the store. Make that part of your everyday thing, because you never know. And in my case, that was it.
And it's just so, sad. Here we have, a world where you have fatherless children, and then you got this man grieving his son, and for something we don't even know. We're still trying to figure out why did this occur. So I'll be staying tuned to this story, and I'll keep you updated. Please drop down in the comments. Let me know what you thought. Do you think, what kind of motive do you think would have inspired someone to kill their best friend of 10 years, especially this situation? They both were aspiring rappers. They were doing something they loved together. What do you think could have inspired something like this? So drop down and let me know what you thought. Deuces.